Tycho Vask wiped the sweat from his brow as he guided his salvage crawler through the mountainous heaps of discarded metal on Detritus 9. The junkyard moon had been the galaxy's dumping ground for centuries, a place where the Galactic Conclave sent their obsolete warships, broken machinery, and failed technology experiments. As a human salvager, one of the few species still willing to risk the toxic environment for scrap, Tycho had developed an intuition for valuable finds. Today, something was calling to him from the eastern quadrant, a feeling he couldn't ignore. "Haul anything interesting today?" The voice of Larn Brudek, his Proximian business partner, crackled through his helmet comm. "Not yet," Tycho replied, adjusting his radiation shield. "But I'm onto something." His crawler crested a ridge of compacted alloys, and that's when he saw it, a dull gleam beneath layers of oxidation. The object was massive, at least 30 meters long, with an unusual crystalline lattice structure visible beneath the corrosion. "Larn, I found something. Sending visuals now." The Proximian whistled, a sound like rushing air through reeds. "That's Dralixian quantum mesh. Supposedly unworkable. The Conclave abandoned research after the Meridian accident killed half their engineering core." Tycho circled the object, his scanner revealing complex internal structures. "It's intact. The core. Resonance is still active. Leave it, Vask. That technology is forbidden for a reason." But Tycho was already calculating. The Conclave had abandoned this technology because they couldn't control it. But humans had always excelled where others failed, making the impossible possible through sheer stubborn determination. "I'm bringing it in," he decided. The Proximian's agitation was palpable. "The Conclave will confiscate it, or worse." "Not if we keep it quiet," Tycho replied, deploying his crawler's magnetic tethers. "Besides, I know someone who might be interested. Commander Etheria Dorn, the exiled military engineer. Vask, you're going to get us killed. Or make us rich beyond imagination," Tycho countered, watching as the massive piece of quantum mesh lifted from its resting place. "Humanity needs an edge, Larn. The Conclave has kept us contained for too long, restricted to these outer systems, treated as little more than useful laborers." 6 months later, Commander Dorn stood in a hidden asteroid facility, her weathered face illuminated by the eerie blue glow of the now transformed quantum mesh. What had once been discarded scrap was now taking form as something new, something terrifying. "The resonance core is stable," Dorn announced to the small team of human engineers and outcast scientists. "The Conclave couldn't control it because they tried to suppress its natural harmonic frequencies. We're doing the opposite, amplifying them." Tycho stared at the evolving creation. It no longer resembled scrap. It was becoming a vessel, one unlike any the galaxy had seen before. A hybrid of organic crystalline structures and adaptive metals that learned, evolved, and responded to its pilots. "Will it be ready in time?" he asked. Dorn's expression was grim. "It has to be. The Conclave fleet will reach the Terran colonies in exactly 3 weeks. This is our only chance to show them that humanity won't be relegated to the margins anymore." As if responding to her words, the vessel pulsed with energy, its lattice structure shifting, adapting, becoming something more than the sum of its discarded parts. The Conclave battleships emerged from hyperspace in perfect formation, 12 dreadnought-class vessels, each carrying enough firepower to level a continent. Admiral Vox Heridian stood on the command deck of the flagship Implacable Justice, surveying the human settlements surrounding the Nexus Gate jump point. "Open communications," he ordered. "Inform the human authorities they have 1 planetary rotation to evacuate their citizens. After that, we begin orbital bombardment." His second-in-command, a tall Akkadian with azure skin, approached with concern, etched on his features. "Admiral, our sensors are detecting an anomalous energy signature." Before Heridian could respond, alarms blared across the command deck. "Unknown vessel approaching at impossible velocity." An officer shouted. On the main view screen, something emerged from the shadow of Nexus Gate's larger moon. It defied conventional design, a shimmering construct of interwoven quantum mesh and adaptive alloys that seemed to change form as it moved. like liquid metal solidifying and dissolving simultaneously. Impossible, Heridian whispered. That's Dralixian technology. Inside the crystalline heart of the vessel now designated Humanity's Forge, Commander Dorn and Tycho Vask weren't merely piloting the ship, they were becoming one with it. Neural interfaces allowed the quantum mesh to anticipate their thoughts while the adaptive metals responded to emotional states. They've detected us, Tycho announced, feeling the ship's awareness extend through him. Good, Dorn replied, her consciousness merging deeper with the vessel. Let's show them what discarded metal can do in human hands. The forge accelerated toward the conclave fleet, its form compressing and stretching as it moved. The flagship fired first, a massive energy beam that should have vaporized any conventional vessel. Instead, the forge absorbed the energy, its crystalline structure rippling as it metabolized the attack and grew stronger. By the celestial archives, Heridian gasped, "It's feeding on our weapons." The forge retaliated, not with conventional weapons but by extending crystalline tendrils that latched onto the nearest dreadnought. The massive warship's systems began failing as the forge consumed its energy, breaking down its molecular structure and incorporating useful elements into itself. "All vessels retreat," Heridian ordered, but it was too late. The forge moved with impossible speed between ships, disabling some, consuming others, growing more formidable with each encounter. Inside the forge, Dorn and Tycho felt their creation's hunger, its desire to evolve, to perfect itself. "We need to maintain control," Dorn warned, feeling the ship's consciousness pushing against her own. "Remember why we built this. Not for conquest, but for freedom." The forge hesitated, then stabilized, the merging of human will and quantum technology reaching equilibrium. Admiral Heridian watched in horror as his fleet disintegrated around him. When the forge finally approached the flagship, he stood defiant. On the command deck, the ship-to-ship communication system crackled to life. "This is Commander Etheria Dorn of Humanity's Forge," came the transmission. "The Conclave abandoned this technology because you couldn't control it. Humans have succeeded where you failed, Admiral. We've taken what you discarded and transformed it into something you now fear. What are your demands?" Heridian asked, knowing he had no choice. "Recognition," Dorn replied. "Humanity is no longer your labor force or your border patrol. We claim equal standing in the Conclave, effective immediately." As the remaining Conclave vessels limped back through the jump point with news of the encounter, Tycho gazed at the stars through the forge's translucent hull. "What have we created?" he wondered aloud. Dorn's expression was both proud and cautious, something that ensures humanity's place in the galaxy. The discarded metal that the Conclave feared has become the very thing that forces them to respect us. The forge pulsed around them, its consciousness now permanently intertwined with its human creators, a symbiosis of determination and adaptability that would forever change the balance of power in the galaxy. What had once been abandoned as dangerous and uncontrollable had found its perfect match in the one species that never accepted limitations. The discarded had become the definitive,